What's going on, guys? It's Danny here, and this is going to be a video about PvP add-ons, my UI during PvP, and my keybinds. The previous two guide type of videos I made were a little bit more Shadow Priest specific, but this one with the add-ons, the UI and the keybinds are for everyone. In the description of the video I'll have a list with the add-ons that I named here in this video, and in the future if I find a new add-on that I like, and on my stream in the chat I have a command that's !addons, and that one I always update it. But no worries, I highly doubt there will be huge changes from now on, because for the most part this is the add-ons I like and how I like my UI to be, and there will be no huge drastic changes. Now, I like to keep it simple without too many things on the screen, without changing too much, and keeping the game looking as close to default as possible. So let's go into the add-ons first. The first add-on is Arena Countdown, and it basically shows a countdown in the middle of the screen, this thing right here, when the arena is about to start. Now, for some reason this stopped working, so I just need to find an updated version. But if not, I heard from a lot of people that the arena enemy frame add-ons also have a built-in countdown. I will show my arena frames add-on in a bit. The second add-on is Battleground Targets. This is a screenshot from Classic, and Battleground Targets is this thing right here. It's basically a list of the enemy team. It's extremely useful in Warzone Gauge, for example. You can click on them and target the enemies through the frame and then mind vision them to see where they are. It's almost like cheating. But even if you weren't a priest, it is recommendable to have this add-on for BG. It's like having an arena frame in arena. For bigger than Warzone Gauge, bigger than 10-man BG, for Eye of the Storm and Arathi Basin, I still have it. It's 15 people, it's just 5 more. And for Alterac Valley, 40 people, I just don't have it enabled, I don't use it. The next add-on is Big Debuffs. Big Debuffs is one of the add-ons I like the most, one of the best ones. Basically, if you played Classic, it's like Classic Aura durations. On the enemy frame, it puts the duration of my CC. Or if they have a defensive, it puts them. Instead of seeing their face, I see the CC and the duration left. Same on my focus frame. And Big Debuffs also puts it here on the right side of the enemy health bar. But Big Debuffs also here should be able to be customized to show a big debuff on my party frame on my teammate. Instead of it being this small, you see this debuff, this curse? Instead of being that small, the Hodge, I should be able to make it the whole party frame here, or a big part of it. The next add-on is Details. This is a damage meter. Now, damage meter are mostly used in PvE, but in PvP it can be useful too. Yeah, it has a lot of arenas. Like, for example, you can just see after the arena, you can go back to it and see who did what damage. It shows you, your teammate, your enemy teammates, enemies. You can also go and see, for example, damage taken for my teammate or for myself. What did I take the most damage from? And things like that you could analyze. Or deaths, it shows like, it's supposed to show a bigger list of what happened like in the last few seconds before you died, what spells did you take and how much damage they did to see exactly what killed you. The next add-on is Diminish. The add-on Diminish shows the DR, the diminishing return of stuns and CC. On me here, I might have to zoom in on top of my frame here on the top left, and on the enemy frame here, my teammate's Nova, he was a mage, and my Fear DR. And I think it also shows it on the focus frame. My focus frame sits right here somewhere. Just generally one of the most important things in PvP and arena, the diminishing returns. The next add-on is called Lose Control. Now, Lose Control can be used either add-on or a weak aura. I have a weak aura and I will leave it in the description of the video. And basically in the middle of your screen, on top of your character, it shows you when you get CC'd, the duration and the icon of the CC. Right here on this screenshot, in the middle of the screen, I got Frostbite procced by the mage and I'm CC'd in a Frostbite, and it shows it right here. The next add-on is Omnibar. This is another extremely important add-on for PvP. And what I like to do is I like to have two different bars from Omnibar. And here real quick I can show you how to set up a second Omnibar and the way you want it. So typing /OB for Omnibar, it's locked, so if I unlock it, I will see this Omnibar on my screen here. And going to make a new one is here, create bar. My second bar, I like to have it for interrupts only. Okay, and by default Omnibar enables, you can see it under spells, by default Omnibar enables all the interrupts first. And basically having the interrupts apart from other cooldowns makes the interrupts easier to see. Sometimes I think of this as, can I cast? Look bottom left of my character to see if there is any interrupt on cooldown. Let me lock. When you lock them, you stop seeing the bar that says Omnibar and interrupts. And here on the bottom right of my character, the Omnibar with the rest of other important abilities I want to track. A Rogue's Cloak of Shadows, it's extremely important for me. And here on this screenshot, it's an example of that. Here is the enemy mage counterspell cooldown. And here is the rest of his abilities, Ice Block and Cold Snap. The next add-on is Omni CC, and this one pretty much shows you in seconds the duration of your dots on the target. Because you see, for example, if you play with a rogue, you see the kidney shot duration of your teammate in seconds, or should be able to see it. The next add-on is S Arena, and S Arena is the arena enemy frame add-on here that shows you the health bars, with the class color, their pet, their trinket. Most importantly, this is where I check the people's cooldowns on their trinket. You can also make it to show their ratios cooldown. Another one that's probably the most known one is Gladius. You might have heard or you might use Gladius. I use S Arena. It's just important to have an enemy frame add-on for Arena. And I think even with the new modern client that we have, TBC Classic will be using the Shadowlands client. So on that one, by default, I think we also have enemy frames, just like there is in retail. But an add-on just gives you more detail, more things to, more information. And I like using specifically the frame style Zaryu. Zaryu is one of the best arena players out there, but for example, if you do test and then you click Blizz Tourney, a bit different, Zaryu, a bit different. And from here you can modify a lot of things in S Arena. Pet frames, cast bars, and if you hold, like it says here, Control Shift and click, you can move the cast bar above the target if you want. You can move it below. You can move it on the side. Another add-on that's really useful, especially if you play without communication in Arena, if you're just chilling in 2v2 or something, is this add-on that shows teammates cooldowns right here. I have it from retail. This is a recent screenshot from Shadowlands. I'm just using this one because I don't have the add-on for TBC yet. But for Shadowlands, they were two and they both do the same, show my party members cooldowns. Omni CD and the Arena Team Tracker, ATT. In a bit in the video you will see my full UI where I show it and explain it, and I want to have this at the exactly same place together with the party frames on the left side. It's actually useful because even if it was communicated, sometimes you don't hear your teammate or there is too much going on and you forget, and when you take a look at his HP here on the party frame, you kinda automatically also notice cooldowns. Okay, if I keep drawing you will end up seeing absolutely nothing. And the last PvP add-on is Weak Auras. Now Weak Auras can be everything, PvP, PvE, UI, utility add-on. It's basically this add-on where you import Weak Auras. I'm really bad at Weak Auras. I haven't ever made my own Weak Aura. I just import from other places. So here I have Lose Control Weak Aura, which like I said is the CC in the middle of my screen. I'll put a link in the description of the video. I have Interrupt Bar that I used for some time, but now I have Omnibar with only the interrupts. And I have a Weak Aura that is GCD History Group. And this basically is the Weak Aura that slides from right to left here at the bottom, my most recent casts. This is mostly for a viewer quality of life. This is nice if you're a content creator mostly. Personally, when I play the game, I never look down here. And there is also an add-on if you don't want to use a Weak Aura. There is a separate add-on called Trophy GCD. So that's basically all the add-ons at the moment. Generally my UI from playing in the TBC beta and going into release now in a day, my UI will be looking like this. Let me remove all of the drawings. At most, and I don't see it as a bad change, what I could do is maybe bring my frame and my target frame from the default position on the top left. I could bring them down here. My frame, my target, something like that. And then my focus below my target. This is my focus right here. So my frame, my target, my party frames. This, by the way, is default UI from Blizzard. The party frame, no add-on for party frame. This is my focus frame. Here is my buffs, my debuffs, Another change I might make, sometimes it's a bit harder to look too much, it's a bit too far to look at the top right to see the enemy cooldowns on their trinkets. So I might bring this one to a little bit like closer, like here for example. Here I have the sliding spells for the viewer, interrupt bar, rest of the cooldowns bar, lose control when I get CC'd in the middle of the screen. That is for Arena. And for Battlegrounds, it's gonna be, this is one from Classic, this is from pre-patch. For Battlegrounds, it's gonna be like this, just missing the Battleground Targets add-on to show me a frame of the enemy team here on the left side of my team frame, my raid frame. By default in Warsong Gauge from the new modern client, you see the flag carriers. I can click them from here as a priest and mind vision them. Another PvP situation would be dueling. I don't really have a screenshot for dueling, but let's say this in-game real time. There is nothing special really, it's just when I'm fighting someone, I will see their cooldowns interrupt here and the rest of the cooldowns here, like I said from Omnibar. And now for the spell bars part of UI. I don't use an add-on that replaces spell bars or adds additional spell bars. The main idea, the main trick about the spell bars here is about cooldowns. The most important cooldowns and spells to keep track of should be here, all around the same place. As you can see here, this is filled with the most used spells and my most important cooldowns. And that's mainly a comfort thing, you don't want to be looking all over the place for your cooldowns. I don't want to have like my silence here, and then for example my fear here. I want my most important cooldowns to always have to look like this, always have to look this way. That's the main idea behind the cooldowns and the positioning them on your bars. On these two I will have HP pot and mana pots, and apart from here everything else has no cooldown and I don't have to look at it at all. For example, this bar on the right, I could play without it. If I remove it from here, it still works. My Mass Dispel is right here somewhere and I can still see Mass Dispel, as you can see. So I just don't see the bar. This way it looks a bit cleaner actually. Probably when I get more confident, when I get fully used to everything, maybe I'll not show the bar on the right. But the idea of these bars are you don't even have to look at them. It has stuff that has no cooldown. Well, I guess my Cannibalize is there, but I can think something to put it somewhere else. The buffs, stamina, rank 1 stamina, max rank stamina, whatever. These things, as long as I know my keybind, they don't have a cooldown, I could play even without showing these bars. That's why some players you might have seen show only 1 or 2 bars and it's like right here somewhere, a lot of arena pros right below their character, and it has the most important cooldowns. They do have all of these too, it's just hidden and they know which keybind it is and they don't have to look at the bind. I hope that explains it well and that helps you set up your UI better. Now the only thing left to talk about is the actual keybinds themselves. And that's mostly a personal preference, what do you want to have and where. For example, I use 1 to 6, my fingers are not that big and I don't want to reach all the way to 7, it's too far for me. My default position, let me show you on the camera, my default position on my keyboard, my hand, is all the way on the left of the keyboard. Sometimes my pinky finger touches like the table below, that's how much on the left side my hand is. It just sits like this. So on the main bar here I use 1 through 6 and then I have A, V, T, G, R, F. On the top I have Shift and 1 through 5 bound. So here I have Alt and R. Most of my combinations are Shift and Alt. I don't use Control. Actually I lied, I have Control G and Control F. Those are mana pots and HP pots. Here just to go in order, I have Alt and F here, D, Alt and Q, Shift and T for the pet. Like I said, trinkets are, top trinket is Shift and space, bottom trinket is Control and space. Shift and G for mind control, Shift and F, Shift and R, F1, Shift and A. I have a Spanish keyboard. This keybind right here is tilde, I think it was called. Basically the key on the left of 1. And I have Alt plus that one. Okay, I lied about Control. I have Control and T for shadow form. Shift and Y for my mount. Extra button of the mouse. I said I have 2 extra buttons on my mouse, nothing too special. Alt and T, F2, Alt and C. Scroll up and scroll down. I use F4 and F5 for buffs. They are pretty far, but I buff once in a while with max rank. For rank 1s I have Alt and 4, Alt and 5. Control and R is for drinks and mana food. And that was basically like a walkthrough through all my keybinds. And when I use stuff like Z, X, C, I unbind certain things like, you know, C by default brings this menu. I just come down and click it now. Z by default takes out my weapon. I just rebound that on keybinds. And it's right here on movement keys. Sheath, unsheath weapon. I didn't notice the word. I never heard that word before. Sheath. Alt and B. So I press Alt and B and this. And then to sit, I have Alt and space. This thing like take the weapon out or sit. These default keys, they are much better used for abilities. They are very comfortable to press quickly. And finally leads me to my final point about speed. For example, D is my silence. I can press D fast. 1 is my dispel. I can press 1 immediately when I want to. Something very uncomfortable, to give you like a horrible example, would be to have dispel magic on Control G. And here is last 2 important things for the end of the video. When I started first playing Classic, I was using by default keyboard turn, like doing this. I was using it with A and D. And these keybinds A and D are super useful for spells instead. The way you want to turn left and right is holding right click of the mouse. If you hold left click, you're just moving your camera left and right. But if I right click and move left and right, my character is spinning. Like I press W, left click of the mouse, I'm just moving my camera. But I press W and right click of the mouse, I'm moving my character left and right. And then some people unbind even strafing. I personally like strafing left and right. I have it left to default, Q and E. Some people use Q and E for keybinds, but instead they bind strafing to A and D. So this is much better, much more efficient movement. And that will make you new spots for new keybinds that you will appreciate having, and it's very nice and very good. And another thing is, if you happen to have a keybind that's not that easy to press, you could always jump, because jumping keeps your character moving. So the most important thing when you're setting up your keybinds would be to think about the comfort. And the fastest reaction times spells should be the closest to your fingers, based on where your fingers are resting by default. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I thought all these 3 things, add-ons, UI and keybinds, will be enough in one video without going too far. Hope this one is not over 20. But here we are on the outro screen that's blurry, and here I put links to other videos. You can see videos to the other guide type of video like this one. Otherwise, check out my channel for all sorts of other content. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch, my stream. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.